Hello, my name is Todd Waller, and I'm going to be presenting my final presentation. First, we're going to start off with what is the difference between management and leadership. Management and leadership are related but serve distinct functions. Leaders are those who are more responsible for creating the strategic vision of an overall organization, and managers are those who get people or tasks done through the work that is given to them. The work of management happens either by directing employees, programs, or projects when directed by decision makers of an organization to perform a task or function that needs to be either managed, controlled, handled, directed, or overseen, such as services, budgets, contracts, or processes. From the perspective of leadership, leaders are involved in inspiring and influencing others toward a common goal or an objective. Leaders set a direction through a vision and motivate people to work collaboratively to achieve results. When looking at different types of management style, we have 7 different styles. There's the autocratic management, democratic management, laissez-faire management, bureaucratic management, transformational management, servant management, and transactional management. Now we'll examine types of evidence used by evidence-based management. There are 4 kinds of evidence: scientific literature, organizational evidence, practitioner's evidence, and stakeholder evidence. There are many industries that are impacted by the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse and the subsequent blockage of the Port of Baltimore. But this review of the literature will concentrate on the impact of the import of cars. The port in March of 2024 saw Mazda as the most auto imports into the US through Baltimore by dollar value, followed by Volkswagen, Mercedes, Jaguar, Land Rover, and Subaru. The Port of Baltimore typically services points in the Midwest due to its proximity and location to the Mid Atlantic. The Port of Baltimore's closure is going to affect ports all along the East Coast. The disruption, however, is not forecast to be a cause of long-term or widespread shortage of cars or price spikes. The impact will affect the supply chain to varying degrees, producing a modest uptick in short-term prices because of the bottlenecks due to the port closure. Any impact that will be felt will be modest. Today, dealers are well stocked and have a national inventory to sales ratio moving back above 1 late last year for the first time since 2021, suggesting any chance of severe shortages would be unlikely unless the port closure goes beyond June of 2024. Alternative strategies. The need for alternative strategies is an important consideration when creating a resilient supply chain, and those strategies can be classified into passive, internal, collaborative, or integral. Typically, these strategies involve adding capacity or inventory using redundant suppliers or increasing flexibility, maintaining the ability to be responsive, or creating additional capabilities. To combat the disruption, large technology logistics organizations like Project 44 and Flexport, which use supply chain software to track and manage global shipping, are already rerouting shipments that were inbound for the Port of Baltimore. Currently, the closed Port of Baltimore has over 40 ships stuck inside the area from the port to the collapsed bridge. It's not just the ports that are adapting to the Port of Baltimore's closure. Railroads are also changing and taking steps to mitigate the disruptions. CSX Railroad has announced dedicated route solutions between Baltimore and New York. In conclusion, the practice of evidence-based management may have many considerations, and being able to abide by those considerations define what a leader and manager's role in an organization are. Though the events of the 24th of March 2024 was a unique time. The collapse of the bridge is not something supply chains had to deal with in the past. There are precedents for such disruptions. Some more common events that would cause a disruption are earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, and acts of sabotage. The collapse of the Francis Scott Bridge will cause disruptions to the supply chain for imported cars into the eastern United States. There are, however, mitigation strategies that will lessen the impact and allow commerce to continue. These mitigations will allow imported cars to continue to be imported into the United States at the same rate as before the bridge collapse, and any shortage of cars or price spikes will be short term. The longer term impacts of the bridge collapse will be to that of the region of Baltimore itself. Strong management styles combined with sound and thoughtful decisions come about by the practice of evidence based management and mitigating the negative impacts. The Port of Baltimore and the region around the port are making hard decisions that must be made regarding staff cuts, seeking grants from the state and federal government, working with insurance companies to recoup costs, and working with trade unions to prepare the port for the time when the port will open operations again. A practitioner of evidence based management will look at this as an opportunity to use the time to perform maintenance that has been postponed or refitting machinery that will be offline during the unusual operations. The evidence based management manager will evaluate the evidence, weigh any decisions against alternatives, and reevaluate those decisions post implementation to make corrections. That is the way the Port of Baltimore will survive this major disruption to its operations. Thank you.